All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's LinkedIn Tuesdays. We're very glad you're with us. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It's July 21st. For those people who are on Zoom, please know that there is a chat box. If you hover over the bottom of your screen, if you click on the chat box, you will see the chat box where you can enter any questions. That way, as Locke's doing his presentation, we won't interrupt him. And then when he stops for questions, we'll make sure we get them answered for you. For those of you who are on Facebook, please just enter your questions into the comment box. I am monitoring the feed. Currently, we've got 6 or 7 people on Facebook. And if you have any questions, please just pop them in the comment box and we will make sure we get those answered for you. For those on Zoom, there's a couple different options up at the very top of the screen, view options. I recommend if you can go to the speaker view. That way you'll see the speaker, you'll see the PowerPoint on the left and the speaker on the right-hand side of the screen, and that's that lower left-hand description. And in the middle there, where that little red arrow is, you can see there's a couple little dots or something. You can drag that back and forth to make the presenter bigger or smaller, depending on what they're sharing on the screen. Please note this event is currently being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and on the Career USA YouTube channels for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you post a comment in the chat box or have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your comments, name, and pictures to appear. Well, good afternoon. My name is Jeff Morris. I founded Career DFW back in 2008. In 2012, after a visit to the White House, I found out that there really wasn't anything else like Career DFW in the country, so I launched CareerUSA.org to help people outside the DFW area. I facilitate and I lead the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, and I've been doing that since 2007. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, conducting interviews every Wednesday. For our LinkedIn Tuesdays, we have 3 different speakers who rotate through: Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, and Ruth Lipsky. And the reason we bring in 3 different speakers, and sometimes I come in as a 4th, is because everybody has a little bit different perspective on how to use LinkedIn, and they're all going to share something different. So hopefully you'll join us for more than just one time. And you know, every time I see these speakers over and over again, I still learn new things every time. So I hope you'll join us every Tuesday at 1. So today, Locke Alderson's our speaker. He's going to talk about how to use LinkedIn for job hunting, strategies that gets results. So Locke, thank you very much for being with us, and take it away.
I will. You're going to share the screen, Jeff, so I can do that?
You can do it. Go ahead.
Okay. Where am I sharing screen, Jeff? Oh, it's down the bottom. Okay. Okay, how much of the screen do you see? Do you see the PowerPoint, or do you just see and the slides out to the side?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, I'm going to take it and do the slideshow then. Okay, well, I am Locke Alderson. I've been doing this for a few years, 41 years in recruiting and 19 years as a career consultant. Some of that overlapped. Some of the companies I've worked with include Lee Heck Harris and Mullen International Outplacement Firms. Prior to that, I was with Oracle Corporation, Siebel, Raytheon Systems here in town, and E-Systems. And then out in California, Rockwell Microelectronics, Litton Data Systems, and Continental Airlines. Anybody who would like the presentation today, just send me an email at lockealderson@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to send you the whole deck. Even though it's recorded, it's a little easier sometimes to just sort through the slides. And one of the things we want to talk about is, why do we want to use LinkedIn? Well, if you aren't on LinkedIn right now, you can go to YouTube and sign up for a brief orientation. It's a good one. And again, there are a number of them on LinkedIn. But why do we want to use LinkedIn? Well, it started as a networking tool among sales professionals and quickly expanded to recruiters because they found that they could find people who had the backgrounds they were looking for, and gradually grew. There are now about 550 million people on it. The last numbers I heard, I think Jeff gave a little bit higher numbers last week when he did the presentation, or 2 weeks ago. And again, why do you want to use it? Well, recruiters are using it. 90% of the recruiters and hiring managers are using it as a sourcing tool to find people. It's not the only one, but it's one of the primary ones that they use. If I were back in recruiting full-time, it would be the one that I would use if I had to pay for it. And there is a pay service for recruiters to use it as well, if you want the full package. Well, it all starts out with your profile. And your profile is basically your online resume for LinkedIn. If you notice a few things about mine, there are a number of things there. You have a name field underneath your photo. And if you do have a photo, you want to dress like a professional and have one taken. Even if it's a selfie, you want to do one with a good background and dress like you were for an interview. I have a shirt and tie on there. Some people have a coat and tie. Jeff has one that's a little more casual that you see him in his picture over there to the right. Okay. The next thing after your photo, you notice a background photo that's there. You can do that. There are some that are available. And again, you want to use that as well as part of that. Some people use a Wordle, put all the words from their resume or their profile in there in different formats. Some are highlighted in bigger headlines. You have a headline underneath your name. If you don't put anything in there, it will default to your last job title. And if you're looking for a job, that may not be the job that you're looking for. So you want to put that in there. You notice you have mine there has career consultant, recruiting consultant, contract recruiter, executive recruiter, speaker, workshops, and seminars. You have 120 characters to play with. You can put a number of different job titles with that as you start out. And in your name, I will suggest when you use your name that you use the name that you want to be called by. My actual name, my legal name, and I've changed a couple of addresses today, is John Locke Alderson Jr. And when you do that, and the representative on the other end of the line asks for that, they want your full name. But when you're looking for a job, what do you want to be called by? So that's what I use there. Okay. The headline, as I mentioned, is 120 characters that you get to play with, and we'll show you how to do that. Your job opportunities that you see there is something that you can do in your settings once you first set up your account, and it will allow you to put 5 different job titles that you want to be noted for. And you can change those with the little blue pencil that you see over here to the side. Once you've originally entered it, you can change and add additional ones. You can also limit who sees your job opportunities to recruiters only or to LinkedIn in general. On this particular slide, I had limited to recruiters only. The other thing, you have a featured section as well, which is something new that LinkedIn has added, and we'll show you how to do that as well. And your contact information, it should be in your summary section as well. The summary is now called an about section. But we want to talk about LinkedIn and what it's used for. Well, LinkedIn gives values to every part of your resume, okay? Or your profile, I should say. And as you complete that, you get all-star status if you have a complete one. What you're looking for is a professional headshot and a background photo. Although you don't have to have a background photo, there will be one that will default for you. Your headline should be the position that you're applying for. Generally, it's the job title, and you can have multiple positions, as I mentioned up there. You're open to job opportunities. That's in your settings section. We'll show you how to do that in just a minute. And these are factors that are rated in evaluating your profile when it's searched by LinkedIn. The about section, as I said, used to be called the summary. It's an overview of your career with keywords from your profession. How do you define yourself in terms of your profession? You know the best vocabulary to describe your profession. So that's what you want to use, as many keywords as you can, job titles that are related to the job that you're looking for as well. Your contact information, it's vital that you have your contact information. You can have it in multiple places. The one place I do suggest that you include it is in the top 2 lines of your about section. The fewer clicks that somebody has to make to contact you, the more likely that they'll make it, the easier it is. Again, having it in there multiple times. A friend, Gail Houston, who also does a presentation on social media, she has her contact information in her profile at least half a dozen different times. You want to make that easy for people to find you, particularly if your contact information, which is another section on your profile on your homepage, if you've limited the contacts to your first degree connections, I can't see who you are and contact you with your email address unless you've added that. Your experience section should be the job title and the job title that you have, along with the description of your duties and some of the keywords from your profession, maybe some accomplishments as well. If you have an unusual job title like Member of Technical Staff 3, use the more generic one that's used in industry. Make it easy to understand for the recruiter and the hiring manager to know what you're looking for. Education, awards, and certificates, Professional development, a lot of the profiles that I've looked at over the years have simply talked about when somebody got their degree or they graduated from high school. But since then, you have continual learning. It's a lifetime learning process in terms of professional development, awards and certifications, and you certainly want to talk about all of those. Your skills from your profession and endorsements. Skills are one of the key things that recruiters look for, and we'll show you about that in a few minutes. And endorsements, people that look at your profile, it makes it easy to check, just a checkbox for saying these are the skills that you have, these are your experience, and they can endorse you for that. The more that you have, and we'll take a look at that, I have numbered with 99, which is the maximum number that they will give you credit for, even though I probably have a couple of hundred on some of the categories for my skills. And recommendations, these are like letters of reference. It makes it easy for somebody to take a look at you and know about you from people who have worked with you, particularly if it's a former boss or somebody who's worked with you. Your dashboard is another part of your profile. Again, you notice on this particular screenshot, which is a snapshot, it's actually concrete in purpose. 110 people have viewed me in the last 90 days, and I've appeared in 160 searches. I've noticed up there at the corner that I'm also an all-star. The featured section that I mentioned earlier is there. You see job hunting with Locke, Alderson with LinkedIn. That's this presentation. I'm doing a presentation on Thursday on avoiding the resume black hole. So if you wanted the PowerPoints, it's there as well. But you can include things like that at bios, you can include artistic work as well. The featured section allows you to show some of the things that you've done. If you're a graphic artist, it allows you to show your portfolio as well. And people, when they click on, if we look back at this area, if you see the search appearances up there at the top, wouldn't it be nice to know where these people are, what words they've used to try and find me? Again, those are some of the words that they've used to search for me. And this is where some of those key people work. Wouldn't it be nice to know that they might be looking for a recruiter or looking for somebody with your background? In my case, they might be looking for a recruiter because they're looking for a job, okay? So those are some of the things that you can do that make it easy to try and find people in terms of your appearance. And it'll be on your profile. I can't see that, but it's there for you. But let's move on and take a look at headlines. Here are some sample headlines I want you to give some thought to. Think what you think about them. Unemployed, retired, seeking a new opportunity. While unemployed is truthful and retired is truthful, they probably aren't putting your best foot forward when you use those as your headline. Formerly VP of Finance conveys that you have expertise in the field of finance, in a corporate environment, or possibly in an accounting firm. Again, that's something, or you might be in a company as well. But formally implies you're out of work right now. So you don't want to use that one as possible. Experienced media professional gives some indication that you currently have a background in the field of media. And looking for a new opportunity, may or may not be unemployed. Here's a better one, social media strategist and content manager, seeking new opportunity. The areas of expertise would seem to be in print and digital media, public relations, marketing, and corporate communications. Gives a little bit more feel for who you are. Supply chain, procurement, and purchasing, pretty succinct, but very, very pointed to those people that have that kind of background. So you might want to look, people would look further for somebody in that kind of a field. Accountant, senior accountant, general ledger, financial reporting. Could be other things that you do, manufacturing or cost accounting. Some of the other areas that are quick describers of who you are. We tend to pigeonhole people, so we look at those kinds of things, and that's what recruiters do. They search for keywords like that. An executive assistant is a pretty generic term, but if you add budget and event planning, it adds a little bit more detail to your background. And likewise, IT project manager, okay, ITIL is a certification in that field, and Scrum Master is one of the new technologies that's available. Agile is another one that somebody could use in that one as well. Here's one that's a general manager in manufacturing and aerospace, pretty descriptive of who the person is and what their kind of things that they might be looking for. The next section is your summary section. This is a pretty good general description of somebody with a background in financial planning and analysis. But you notice one thing about the About section, I mentioned putting your contact information at the top of the About section. There it is on the first line. Okay, and notice this is a little bit verbose, has probably 10 lines there of text. Again, tend to break up your About section with different formats, including bullets and possibly breaks in the paragraphs there so that they don't all kind of run together. Here's some other sample summaries that you can take a look at. In your summary, you want to put information about you and your career field, as I say, work in as many industries as you can, the industries that you may have worked with, the hard skills that you have, and any keywords that are possible. But those are just some examples of some other summaries. Skills and endorsements, I mentioned that it's further down on the profile when you get to it. But again, when you first start out, it allows you to add some skills that are there. In this case was an example with a data analysis. If it's got a plus by it, that means those are some that LinkedIn has selected for you. You can just click on it and it will appear there. Again, you can start to type in a skill if you will, and if it's not there, you won't get the plus symbol that you can add it. Again, LinkedIn will show the top skills in your field that you've selected. And again, you can organize those in just a minute. I'll show you how to do that. Here's the skills and endorsements section. You'll notice this happens to be from mine. I've selected these three to appear on the top, which is career counseling. They've been endorsed by two people who work with me in outplacement at Mullen. Executive search work by 4 people that I work with at Mullen, okay, helping executives find positions. And also in recruiting, Gail Houston that I mentioned and 20 others have said I have skills in this area. And I've been endorsed by others on that. So skills and endorsements are important. You can order, as I mentioned, rank order the thing. You notice the 3 bars at the side over here. If you click on those, they will allow you to reorder those. If you click on the push pin here at the top, you can take that one away and insert one as recruiting or internet recruiting. You can have up to 50 of those so that you can select. Makes it really easy to show your strengths, the areas of your expertise, which is what you want to try and convey. You want to convey that you have some subject matter expertise because that's what recruiters are looking for. They want the best. Okay, have you said, is your profile really public? Again, you can go to your privacy sections on that area and deal with these things: privacy, ads, communications, and job seeking preferences. Okay, is your profile, is your public profile, your URL, is it really customized? Because URL, LinkedIn will assign you one with your name and about 8 characters after with numbers and characters. You can go in and customize that. It looks like this. Gail Houston has taken off the numbers after her name. But you could do that. You could add something like -MBA or North Texas. Jeff, I think, has some after his name that he uses. But those are just ways that you can simply do that. If that name is used, like Gail Houston, there are 4 other Gail Houstons in the United States. So she wants to identify, she might add Texas after hers or Intuit, which is the company that she happens to work for. Okay, the other things in your privacy settings that you might want to do, who can see your email address? I mentioned that you want to be found by people. Even if you want to keep your phone number private so that people don't spam you, you can at least change your email address so that you can get contacted. And who can see your connections? Again, I have mine limited. Who can also see your profile? Again, I have changed that one to no, because I don't want people to compare me if I were looking for a job to other people that have my kind of background. So those are just some things that you can do to make it easy for people to find you. Okay, and the other thing that I mentioned that you can do when you first set up your account is let recruiters know that you're open to opportunities. And you have to do this about every 90 days or it drops back to that you're not looking for a job status. But when you do that, it opens up and you can add at least 5 different job titles that you want when you do that. Let's go back to the profile itself. Recruiters tend to look at resumes and at the profile for 6 to 10 seconds. So take a look at mine and see what you can find. You notice I've got a good headshot. I think it's a good one. You've got a background picture. You've got my name. You've got 120 characters under my name that gives kind of an idea of where my areas of expertise lie. You notice that I've got 500 connections here. That's another thing that you can do. And the contact information. And I'm open to job opportunities. This time I've changed it to all LinkedIn members can see that. And the changes that you can do are right there. If you're unemployed, one of the things that you do want to do is to add a current position. And you say, well, I'm unemployed. Well, what are you looking for? In this case, it's a project manager or a program manager. What is the job title that you are looking for? What is the industry that you're looking in if you have one? If You're looking in telecommunications or IT. Or where are you looking? If you're looking in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you're looking in Plano. And this was done a couple of years ago. This person, I should update this slide, but I don't know quite how to do that. I'll work on that. And individual is currently working there, and update my headline. What's the headline title? What's the job title they're looking for? In this case, it's looking for a program manager in a telecommunications firm. And description of duties, you can amplify that as well. Strong skills in project management, and add the things that are keywords to your search. You can create job alerts. Once you have those job titles at the top of your profile, LinkedIn will suggest job titles for you and collect searches. You can just turn the radio button on and off over here to the side. Once you do that, you'll be notified depending upon the delivery option that you've selected, whether you want it weekly or monthly. Not weekly or monthly, daily or weekly, as I was going to say, so that you can get those notifications, thumbnail sketches that there are recruiting specialists positions available in, say, Dallas or in Houston, wherever it is that you're looking. So how does LinkedIn search or sort the searches? I mentioned that you have values for each of your sections. So how does that work on LinkedIn? Well, LinkedIn, as I mentioned, gives a value for every section of your resume or your profile. And your score is based on the sum of these and how much you use LinkedIn. The higher the scores, the more likely that you'll appear at the top of a particular search. So what are the things that they look for again? Well, LinkedIn is looking for somebody who's completed a profile. And likewise, they have an exact match of the job titles for your current position, your previous position, and the headline all match what the job title is that they're looking for in the job that's being searched. That you're open to new opportunities. This seems like a gimme, but recruiters like low-hanging fruit. If there's somebody who's open to an opportunity, it's a lot easier to approach somebody than somebody who says, no, I'm not interested, and yet that not interested candidate may be the one that the recruiter is actually looking for. So we want to make it easy for the recruiters because they go after the low-hanging fruit first. You want keywords from your profession. What are they? That describe who you are and what you do. Some other words, you should probably be able to list at least 10 or 15 words that describe your profession, the things that you do in that profession. What skills do you have? Mine might be recruiting or sourcing or hiring, although some of the keywords that might be used in my area. Recruiters like people that live close to the job location because applicants have taught recruiters, I don't want to drive more than 25 miles to work. So recruiters limit their searches to 25 miles. The way they do that is based on your zip code or the information that you've given when you fill out your profile. Again, if you're open to other opportunities, you might want to put a Dallas-Fort Worth area if you live north, like in Denton. Denton is more than 25 miles, which is the default setting on most job boards, including LinkedIn. It's more than 25 miles from Dallas or Fort Worth, but people are willing to commute to Dallas or to Fort Worth. I've known candidates who lived in Sherman and work in Dallas, candidates who lived in Saxe and were willing to work in North Fort Worth. That's a 60-mile drive each way. Kind of crazy as far as I'm concerned, but the individual liked it. He utilized his time when he was in the car to listen to things on tape and listen to podcasts. So those are the kind of things that are important, but you got to let somebody know that you're open to that, because if you don't, putting in an address or zip code will limit your appearances and searches. First degree and second degree connections are very important in having over 500 connections. I'm running up on 6,000, I think, in mine, and that can vary by the number of groups that you're in, because when you join a group, all the members of that group also appear in your connections. And comment, other ways that you get found, commenting on posts and articles, writing and posting an article. I've got an article that I wrote on first impressions that I posted on LinkedIn. Kind of interesting how that applies even on LinkedIn and when we're doing Zoom meetings and visual or virtual interviewing as well. Okay, so what do recruiters look for? Okay, they look for the headline of job titles. They look at your employment, the titles past and present. They look at keywords. They look at the industries that you've worked in. They look at your education. They look at your location. And they look at the prior companies. They look at your pedigree and how long you were there. Were you a job hunter? Once they've narrowed down their search, they'll start to look at the thumbnail sketches of each candidate. Again, the keywords that you've got in there are vitally important. The skills are important as well. So let's take a look at a couple of recruiter searches. This is one for a recruiter who was looking for a product manager in the greater Seattle area. Would consider somebody down in the San Francisco area, consider product management as well as product marketing and competitive analysis. And in this one, he had this search drew about 6,900 candidates, you see up here at the top, and had company connections where people were following the company. Again, that's another way that you can follow. If you're following a company, it shows that you have some interest, makes it a little bit easier to develop a relationship that way. Let's take a look at another search. This is one for a project manager in Chicago area. They consider somebody in New York or San Francisco. They were looking for somebody with a background or skill set in analytics and business strategy. And they wanted somebody with Northwestern University experience. Again, they were particular because some schools had particular emphasis or skills are noted for their graduates in a given area. So that's a way that you can find that as well. Okay, so let's think about looking for a job. You have two areas that you can fill in when you can click the jobs tab up here at the top. The first one is the search jobs and the search location. So you want to enter in your job title, job name that you're looking for. And again, as you start to type in, LinkedIn has some artificial intelligence will suggest some things like contract, CON, it might be consultant, could be contract, or some of the words, and it'll have a drop-down list. If you click on one of the words from the drop-down list, it defaults on the location to the United States. So you have to enter a location or it will default. And then when you look at your location, you can modify that on a filter. So let's move on and take a look at the filters. When you're doing searches on LinkedIn, you need to take a look at the filters, take advantage of those, make it easy for you to eliminate jobs that may not apply to you or may already be filled. One of the suggestions that I have, and I have to go back, okay, is I always like to search for current jobs within the last week or so. Reason being, first response to a posting on the internet, whether it's on LinkedIn or Monster, any other job board, is usually within about 2 minutes. And they can have as many as 300 responses in the first hour. So anytime, some of those jobs, the recruiters have gotten a little lazy and failed to take them down. Sometimes a recruiter will leave an opening up there because they're looking for that kind of candidate all the time. But again, I've click on the first week and apply that search, but you can also have some other features there, including that you can easy apply. I don't suggest that, but it makes it easy to take that. Sometimes when you easy apply, it simply just takes your profile and applies to the job. Doesn't allow you to update a resume, which is one disadvantage because when your profile on LinkedIn is not customized to a particular job. You can note the type of jobs that are available. Most are going to be full-time. You notice on these, there's 17,000 jobs on this search in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. 15,000 were full-time. There's some other categories like intern. A lot of graduate students or people on student visas go after internships. A student on an H-1B visa has 3 practical internships that they can get of 6 months each. Some people are only looking for part-time work or contract or temporary. Again, you can limit your search, but you notice on a search for recruiter, there aren't very many like that. But there are, say, if I were looking for contract recruiting, which I've done in the past, 134 of the jobs are for contract recruiters. And some positions are temporary, probably maybe 4 or 6 weeks while somebody's out on maternity leave or something like that. I mentioned if you don't enter a location up here at the top, okay, right here, for Dallas-Fort Worth, it will default to the United States. So you can eliminate, again, by distance, what you're looking for as well. Again, the experience level, we'll take a look at that in a minute, but you can look at the job function. For this recruiter, some of them were in management, others were in business development. That might be somebody for a recruiting firm that's going out to develop jobs. Some of the jobs are specialized in work in information technology. A lot of them are over in HR. You can look at industry. If you're looking for somebody in healthcare, that's a good industry to have. But somebody with healthcare experience, you can limit the jobs to just healthcare or accounting or automotive. You can type in something in the filter as well. It will put that as well. And you can do a company search. In this particular one, Gartner Group had 6. Korn Ferry, which is a recruiting firm, had a couple of openings. And Interstate Batteries had a couple. Well, that's a way that you can apply the filters. Then you click apply up here, which is hidden. I can't see it on my screen, is right there. And then you can clear. That will take you back to your original search that you've done. It makes it easy so you don't have to enter all the terms again. Okay, I mentioned the experience level. Again, on some screens, it will give you a quick evaluation of your salary, and we can take a look at that when we look at mine. Again, but you can know where positions are. The internship is basically what I mentioned to you, is basically somebody still in school. Entry-level positions right out of school, whether it's high school, college, graduate degree. Somebody with an associate degree, associate position is usually 2 to 5 years experience. Mid-seniors typically around 4 to 15 years, and then you start to get up in the management ranks. But you can, again, apply as you see here and do that. And again, if you limits it and eliminates too many jobs, you come back and clear and do your search again in terms of your filters. Creates job alerts. This one was for a talent acquisition specialist. Notice this is talent acquisition leader for DataStar. Well, again, recruiting today, they've used some new terminology called talent acquisition. Again, the description of this particular job is here. And the actual description is over here on the right. Notice that one of my connections, I have one connection there. One of the persons that work there from a group that I'm in is from A&M. Well, that's a way that you can identify with people. You can also optimize LinkedIn up here at the top of the page. I'm going to go back a minute. Okay, notice this tab over here. There's a drop-down arrow. When you click on that, one of the categories is for people. You can look at people with your kind of background. You might want to say, well, why would I want to look at people with my kind of background? They're my competition. Yes, they are your competition. But if you aren't showing up in the first 10 screens, 10 thumbnail sketches per screen, that's about 100 people. If you aren't showing up, you probably won't get looked at by a recruiter or hiring manager. So what you can do is look at people's profiles, see what some of the words that they've used are, and adopt some of those, take some of those words and put it in your profile, see if you can't get a higher ranking. It used to be when I was active in recruiting a number of years ago, I'd show up on the first couple of pages because I was active on a daily basis in recruiting. Well, that's something that you can take a look at. Take a look at people. You can also get some idea where the kinds of jobs that you are interested in might be. Again, these people as a recruiter, this is somebody that apparently has worked on behalf. She was a contract recruiter at IBM and apparently at Intel. Another one was Experian, as you notice on some of the data. So those are companies that employ recruiters. So if you were looking for an accountant, a particular kind of accountant, you can look for them and make that as part of your target list of companies to see if there are any jobs at those companies. You could do a people search at a company. You search by company and then search by people. Okay, this happened to be one for Thomson Reuters, for the company being looked at. And there were 227, almost 228,000 people. Again, that's anybody who had Thomson Reuters in their profile showed up in this particular search. But you could look at them to get the names of people that you might be looking to contact or know something more about at that particular company. These are people that I've done searches for. They appear in my most recent searches. Notice up there. Again, you can use a company search as opposed to a people search. Just do that. This one was for Thomson Reuters. And I clicked on that and I would get a list of people out there. To find people. So you might be looking for a recruiter at, say, Fidelity or Schwab out in Westlake. You can look at there and find people, or Amazon Web Services and other kinds of companies you might take a look at, be looking for a recruiter. How do I get hold of somebody? Because you can link up with those people. And if you make a personal contact, it's a little bit more of a warm contact than a cold contact where you don't know anybody at all. So when you're using a company search to find people, there are a number of options. You can find out where they live. There's 2 screens combined here, and what they study, where they went to school, and what field did they study in? Well, what do they do? What is their department that they're working in? And what did they study? Okay, it's one way to take a look at it. A further refinement on the company search looking for people is the same way. This is a headline, a slide I borrowed from Dirk Spencer. And all he did to change his profile when he was looking for a job was change the title from technical recruiter, IT and leadership, immediate availability, to this, IT recruiter, available immediate, corporate or contract. That lets somebody know that he was a recruiter and those are the kinds of jobs he was looking for. In his summary section, you can see what he did. That's all he did to change jobs when he left J.C. Penney, and he ended up with, I think he's with Baylor Scott & White still at this time. Okay, I want to turn back. As I say, this is my email address. If you want the slides, just send me an email. I'll include the slides. It'll say enclosed. I won't give you a lot of effort as well. Okay. if I can end the show, Joe and Jeff, and we can take a look at people's profiles.
Okay, that'd be great. If anybody would like to have
Before we do that, Jeff, let me take a look at my profile.
Okay.
I want to share screen again, and I will look at my profile. What do I have to do? Okay, the About section that I mentioned was kind of important, and breaking it up from all just narrative. You notice how I've got some narrative. I've got my contact information, the first line that you see there. I've got different formats that I've done, some of the titles of the jobs that I've had and what I've done. I've been a workshop speaker on a number of different topics. These are some of the companies that I've worked for, as you see on there, and some of the different titles that I've had as a recruiter. Again, the more times that you show, the higher that you're going to rank when somebody does a search on that. This down here, you might think, well, career transition consultant. And in this area in your summary, you have 2,000 characters that you get to play with. In this area, these might seem repetitive and there's no commas there. Career transition consultant, career transition speaker, and that's designed for the recruiter for the search. It's not designed for necessarily for reading. These are the ones that are for reading. Let's take some other looks on my profile. This is that featured section that I was talking about. Here's my dashboard. And you can see that as I click on the dashboard, I've appeared in a few more appearances. But when I click on the number, these are where some of the people work and what those searchers were looking for and keywords that they used. Those are the words that people were looking for or when they did a search. And this is how you get found, is by using keywords. Okay. I mentioned, let's continue to look on my skills. Okay, here's skills and endorsements. I reordered these. If I click on the pencil, as I mentioned, there's the push pin here that I could change that and move that out of the top 3. And this little hash marks over here to the side, if I click on that, I can reorder, hold that down and drag and drop. I didn't want technical recruiting. Let's say I'm going to drop that down to the bottom right there. And if I want to take technical recruiting off, and I wanted to go down and add recruiting, I pushed the pin and it added up at the top. That's just a quick example of how I can save that and how I appear. And you notice that there are 99 people who've recommended me in each of these different areas, okay? And here are the letters of reference, a recommendation. Ask for a recommendation. You can ask somebody to give you a recommendation. In some cases, if you're doing a recommendation, you can actually ask, write out a paragraph, a short paragraph for the person to do. Is this kind of the work that you remember me doing when we worked together? And more likely than not, they will just cut and paste that and send that as a recommendation for you. Again, that's how I got some of these. I must be honest about how I did it. Not that the words are inaccurate. They described the relationship that we had and the work that I might have done for them. Okay. Jeff, you had a question.
Well, no, we haven't had any questions, but if anybody wants to submit their name, we'll be glad to take a look at your profile. Just know that it'll be live on Facebook and it'll be on the YouTube channel for other people to see in the future. So if you'd like, please do that. So we do have a question from Kristen. She wants to know, do you suggest the open to work photo frame that's currently on LinkedIn?
That's a good question. In some cases, you have to be very careful when you use that because that will obscure your picture behind it. Again, so you have to adjust your picture when you use that open to new opportunities, kind of open to work situation. I don't use it. I think there's enough other information, other ways that you can show that you're looking for a position.
Right. Yeah, that's the one thing. You do have to be careful with your picture because it could go, depending on how close in you are. But you can go edit your photo and back it up a little bit so that it does pull it out. All right, we have somebody who's happy to share their profile.
Okay, give me a name.
Ellen. And the last name is Levitt, L-E-V-I-T-T. Ellen Beth, right there.
Hello, Ellen Beth. Okay.
Hello.
We could take a look at that. One thing she doesn't have a headshot.
Sure I do.
There it is. I don't know where it was, but it disappeared. She's got a good description of her duties right here below her, and the things that she's looking for. Again, this pipe character is the shift character above the enter key on most of your keyboards. And you can use that. If you do use this pipe character like that, be sure to leave a space on either side of it, because if you don't, the term that you do that, it's like stratagem pipe media, is not a searchable term when somebody does that. You can do the same thing with a backspace, a space on either side. If you use a comma, just a space after the comma is sufficient. She's
So wait,
open to work.
what do you think about her writing, editing, storytelling with the dashes? Does she need to take those dashes out of there because they
I
won't?
would suggest putting that in there. That's not going to be searchable. Will not show up, Ellen Beth.
So commas,
Writing, comma, but not a dash, because with the dash links those together as a word. So writing, editing, and writing dash editing dash storytelling is the search term.
okay,
I've never searched for writing dash editing dash storytelling.
okay.
Okay, let's
Thank
take a look at that in her about section. Okay, again, I mentioned that your contact information in the first two lines. Well, Ellen Beth has her contact information. If I click on this, okay, which she has, she's got her phone number and your email address. If we're not first degree connections as we are, I wouldn't be able to find her. Let me see if it's in her contact information, her about section at the bottom.
It is at the bottom.
Okay, you need to have it at the top.
Okay.
Make it as easy as you can. The first two lines, and whether it's just your phone number or your phone number, let's connect it at that with your email address, or your email, just an email address and your phone number. It's pretty straightforward. People can look at it and say, that's an email address, or that's a cell phone number or phone number. She's got some featured things that she's done. Okay, these are things that she's done. Here's a word cloud, okay, that she could use that as, actually she could use that as her background picture here if she wanted to. Again, that's how you do that. And again, remember some of these, the sizing on some of these I don't know how to do, but that's something you have. But it looks like a pretty good resume. I don't know if you've updated it. Again, one of the things I would suggest on some of the things that you've done, if you have a highlight or an accomplishment or an achievement for each of these, like a global medical response, what was something that you did? What was a project that you worked on? Again, that just making that a bullet, or you can use an asterisk and a blank space, the same thing as a bullet, because I don't know that the editor in LinkedIn allows you to use bullets, but you can cut and paste. Okay, good looking profile. Other than that, she's got some volunteer experience, which I didn't mention. Again, some other things that she's done. She's got skills and endorsements. So these are the three that she has selected. Remember with the push pin that I mentioned. And I could endorse her like this one. Okay.
How about highly skilled? I mean, really.
Yeah. Hey, you can't force the people to choose what you want. If you put it out there, they're going to select what they want to on it. Okay?
Right, but I
She
am.
has some recommendations. She's got a good number of recommendations with people that she's worked with. But let's take a look at somebody else.
Well, pop up mine for just a second, because I want to show people another alternative as far as making sure you get your, how to make sure you get your phone number and email address out to people.
Jeff has done it a little bit different way. He's got a word cloud up there, and his picture up there that he's done. He's also got a book that he's written, and that's an excellent short book. It's one of the best that I've read. Very concise, but gives you a lot of tips about your job search. Again, things to look at. But he's also got his phone number and his email address right up here at the top. That's very creative, and that's another way to do it.
Yeah, and there's a website out there called Canva, canva.com, canva.com, and you can go build all sorts of different backgrounds and different, it's got hundreds of backgrounds. You tell it you want to do a LinkedIn banner, it'll come up with the right size, and then you can start modifying it with the samples they already have, and you can change things around. So, once again, you want somebody, but if they look at your public profile, if they Google your name and you pop up, boom, that person can get hold of me right away. So
that's a good suggestion, Jeff.
Yeah. All right. So somebody here somebody sent us a question here. How much detail do you suggest in the work summary? I've seen some use as much detail as a resume where others just have a job title? What do you recommend?
Well, you want typically in your job description, you want the company name, the title that you have, make it a title that's recognized by companies in an industry, not necessarily the title that's off the job description table from compensation and comp and benefits in the company. You want to have that. You want to have a description of what your title, what were a couple of your duties that you did, and ideally a couple of the accomplishments. Let's take a quick look at mine again. There's just an example of that, Jeff. Come on. Okay, this one, when I was with Meg, that's very short descriptive. Here's another one with Alderson and Associates. You can notice see more, has some of the companies I did recruiting for. Okay, and here's one with Lee Heck Harrison. Again, look at all the experiences there under that one. So vary how you can do it and take a look at some of these subjects that I covered, you know, with outplacement kinds of firms. You have another one. If I can take a look at another one, we'll do that. With Mullen, I had a lot more. If you take a look at Mullen, those are some of the things I did. Notice some of the accomplishments, the results of the candidates that I worked with. Over 300 out of 445 landed jobs that I knew about. Okay, these are some of the topics we covered. But that's how you can do that. Some of them could be short. You look at some of mine, they're very short. Okay. Don't want Mullen, they're out of business. Okay. But you can notice the description on some of these is kind of short. Others it's a little bit longer. And you can take a look at other people's and see how they came up when you're searching for something like we're public relations for Ellen Beth. If you were to search on that, take a look at other people, see what some of those look like. Some of them are very short, just have the basic words, public relations, communications. Others of them go into more detail. Recruiters like a little bit more detail. What were some of the things that you accomplished? What were some of the results? Measurable results that you accomplished and something like that.
Hey, Locke and Jeff, it's Ellen Beth. Can you go back to mine? Because my substantial experience is buried in the see more. And so, because I've had a few short-term employment stints here in Texas, but I spent 21 years at one big medical center in Baltimore, for example. And so
okay, one thing I will notice for you, notice a difference between this area on highlights. You haven't indented those. As you have here, these are a little bit easier to read. They stand out more. This, by having this right here, the A under the D will make that more readable. That's just a little editing thing that you can talk about. And for somebody with your kind of background, that's kind of important. Okay. How is your audience going to read it? You want to make it as easy for them to read as possible.
True,
okay.
True.
And I understand you were talking about on your work experience.
Yes.
You had a long stint at one company.
Well, at more. See, if you go show more experience, show 5 more experiences. And see, when you get down to keep going, so I was at Johns Hopkins and before that.
Yeah, 21 years, right.
Yeah, and that one has a whole bunch of bullets if you click on it. Yeah.
But again, here, the bullets like that, you want to make it as easy to read because I'm going to look at words like initiated and created, generated, extensive. People are going to look for the active verbs, whether it's on your resume or on your LinkedIn profile. We tend to be a results-oriented kind of thing. Think about if you've ever picked up a copy of USA, was it USA Today?
Yeah.
Most people can read the whole paper in 30 minutes or less. Most people probably spend 5 minutes or less on it. We tend to look at that. If we look at the news on television today, I look at ABC News at 5:30, and again, they may cover a dozen stories in less than a half hour, but that first initial pass, they may talk about 10 things right up front.
So you're saying to line up the first line under the bullet and the first lines underneath. Okay.
Makes it interesting. Somebody want to do a job search? If we can do that, we still have time to do that, I think. Jeff.
Well, I've got a couple more questions here. Is adding an email necessary? Would most people prefer to contact someone through email versus InMail?
Definitely add the email. Because if I have not bought the extra package and we're not linked directly together, I can't contact you unless it's through somebody else or unless I pay for the in-mails. Whereas your email address, I can reach you immediately.
I mean, if their recruiter is paying for the recruiter package, yes, they're going to use InMail because it's easy. They can just click on it and off they go.
Right.
There are a lot of recruiters that don't pay that $600 a month or whatever the fee is. I mean, it's pretty hefty.
It's 500 a month, the last I heard.
Okay, $500 a month. So those people who are not paying that $500 a month fee, you know, there may be a lot of independent people who are doing doing recruiting work, contract work, and they're not paying that.
When I use LinkedIn and I use it extensively, I didn't use the pay package.
Right.
I didn't
want to make it
use
easy.
Yeah. So make it as easy as possible. As easy as possible to get hold of you.
And, you know, my other suggestion too is that if you don't have a separate job search email, you need to set up a separate email so you're not using your personal email account to put out here in public media. You keep your personal email account for your private family and things like that, family and friends, but have a job search email account so that way all those emails are focused into one spot. And be sure to check it even when you do get a job, because remember, that's where you're going to make all your connections. That's everybody you've networked with.
And one important thing I'll add about that, having extra email accounts, always check the spam folder, because you never know, somebody might have reached you and they didn't recognize it. It may automatically go to spam. And you may not get, people have gotten job offers and it's been in their spam account and they didn't know about it.
Right. Lily asked, how much value does an endorsement of a specific skill from a former colleague supervisor compare to a recommendation?
Always try for the recommendation. Because the endorsement is just, you know, highly skilled. But if you have some verbiage that goes along with that, what did you accomplish? As an example, my last recruiting year at E-Systems, I hired 180 professionals. That's significant when you recognize they had to be US citizens, they had to work in Washington, D.C. area or Dallas, Texas, and they had to meet the skills that were required. So those are the kind of things that people want to know about. Have you been involved with high level, you know, high volume recruiting efforts? I worked with one recruiter, he hired 500 people a year. So it makes it real easy to identify. He's done high volume recruiting. He's done college recruiting. He's done cost accounting. He's done public relations campaigns, you know.
Right. And one more, let's see here. No, that last one's been answered.
Anybody that wants to look for a job, we can do a job search real quick.
So pop a name of a company in that you're looking for, or a job title or something, pop something in there and we'll go see what we can find. Pop something in the comment box. Director of AWS.
Well, I don't know that we're going to get one, but we'll type it in.
Oops.
What did I do?
Well, how about, okay, yeah, here's a good one. Put in data scientist.
Okay.
Let's search for a data scientist position.
Okay, notice the drop down menu. When I click this, it's going to default to the United States. So one of the things that you need to do on this is the filters. Again, I'll show the filters. Again, I'm going to look for the recent jobs, and I'm going to look for
Location, second to the bottom.
Locations on the next row down.
Yeah.
Notice that the location is not there, so I'm going to add a location. It doesn't let me add a location because it's defaulted to the United States. But if I go back up here, I can type in Dallas. And it narrowed jobs down. You can see all the jobs, and you can see some of the jobs that are there. Again, if we look at the all filters again and narrow it down to last week, no, it's not letting me do it because I've got this in the picture here.
You could select location down below.
Yeah, but I can't on my screen because it's hidden.
Oh,
I've got you all over on the panel. But that's how you would do it. You also have some idea of the salary bracket, which is something new that they've added. Okay, and you can add, let's say I'm just interested in North Dallas and Richardson and Plano. And then apply that. But you notice other terms, other titles for that job, they're there. Again, those are some ways to do it. Okay, let me. Okay, figured out how to do it. I'm learning, Jeff, after all this process, okay?
I'll have you a Zoom expert in no time.
Okay, we just have to move it around. You told me that you told people that I can move it around. So that shows you how to do a data scientist. And we had somebody that was, who was our person that was looking for AWS?
The director AWS.
Okay. Okay. Amazon Web Services is a company, but it's also a technology that's available out there today. Okay. And companies, Azure is the one from Microsoft. AWS is from, as I say, is from Amazon. People are looking for somebody with a background in that. And notice the different titles there. This is account principal, bilingual, and some other things that go with that. And again, by looking at the filters, if somebody was looking, those are just some of the filters that are available to you. I don't see, if we put, okay, Amazon Web Services is not looking, even though it's Amazon Web Service, Amazon AWS, that's what AWS stands for.
Well, and the reason it probably didn't, because you only had 2 locations, and there's probably no, you know.
Yeah, we looked at Dallas. Yeah, it might be it might be up in the Seattle area for that position. Somebody else have a job or want us to look at your profile? We've got a
We
couple
have time
minutes.
to do one more search, one more. If you want us to look at your profile, pop your name in there and we'll take a look for just, you have time for one more. All right, Mohammed. Oh, this is for a person. No, we're searching people here. Last name is Rahman.
It's Mohammed.
I'm sorry, I misspelled. Well, again, Mohammed.
Yeah, it's correct. Then Rahman, Rahman.
That it?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'll put Dallas Fort Worth there because I don't think we've had some people from outside the area.
No, I'm from Houston, actually.
I'm sorry, you're from
I'm
Houston?
from Houston. Yes, please.
Okay, so let's go back.
Well, do you want to do a people search? You're in the job field right now.
you want to look at your profile?
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to look at a profile. So you need to go back home for a second. Go to your home. Just click on the little house there in the middle upper part of the screen.
Okay.
Now use that search box there for the person. There you go. Oh no. Not him.
Is that you, Mohammed?
No,
Nope.
it's Rahim. It's Rahman.
Different last name.
Yeah, different last name.
This one?
Yes.
Well, it's trying to do a job search now. Yeah, you're in the job search. Yeah, oh, here we go. People.
This
There we
one?
go.
No, not that one.
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry. It's a data scientist that I'm looking for right now.
You're in Houston?
Yes, please.
Well, let's try to refine it that way.
Yeah, the first one.
Okay, he doesn't have a background photo, no problem with that.
Mhm.
Data scientist. Okay, his headline defaulted to his last job title. That may be okay if that's what you want. Okay. The contact information, because we're third degree connections, I don't have a way to contact him unless he's put it in his contact information in his about section. It's not in his about section. So if I were looking for a data scientist, I'd have to go about trying to find him some other way as a recruiter.
Also go back up to his headline for a second. You need to put a space between the upper line and digital, because
Right.
you've got to get a space in there so people can search. They won't be able to search the word digital.
This
Okay.
type character digital is not a searchable term. Okay. But I would add some more job titles, and the way that you do that is with that blue pencil. When you get this area and you look at your profile, click on your profile and the blue pencil, then you can add other titles. You have 120 characters there, and you've used about, I'm guessing, about 50.
Right. Thank you. I'll do that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Jeff,
And
Yeah.
what about the about section?
Yeah, we
the
want to take a
about,
look at it.
the about section is fine. Again, I would leave a space after these characters that you have there, because the square meta is not a searchable term again. Okay, you've got a good looking summary of things that you've done. If I were looking as a technical recruiter, those are the kind of things I'm interested in, but those are not going to be searchable. This right here, add a space right there between the, which
Okay.
you used, instead of, you've used a square as your bullet, and you've used this character about or less than, was it less than or greater than? And I would space over, because those make those terms not searchable. But you have to have your contact information again at the top of your about section. If you don't open up your contacts to everybody, put it in your contact, put it in your about section. That makes it easy for recruiters to find. You've also opened it up. The people who also viewed you can look at these other people that have similar, maybe have similar backgrounds. And if you're job hunting, I would tend to put that out where you're job hunting. I would say no to who can look at your other people they viewed.
Where do you find that?
It's in your
It's
settings.
in your privacy settings.
Your
Okay.
privacy settings. It's in the slide deck if anybody wants it.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, Locke, thank you very much. I know we're just about out of time here, so let me just share a few more screens and we will move on. Let's see. All right, so everything's working great. So Locke, thank you very much. Great information. My question that I have for everybody is, do you know somebody who lives outside the DFW area? Thank you, Mohammed, for joining us from Houston. And hopefully
Thank
we
you.
have other people who are joining us outside. If you do know somebody who lives outside the DFW area, please let them know about Career DFW and Career USA and the free programming that we're putting on every week. We've got great programming going on tomorrow at 1 o'clock, our Interviewing Wednesday. We've completed all 13 sessions. Now, we'll be starting those back up again in August. But for right now, tomorrow, Walt Glass will be presenting distinctive interviewing. And then on Thursday, we'll have our Effective Resume Thursday, where you can submit your resume. We'll review 1 or 2 resumes. We've got 2 resume experts joining us on Thursday who will talk about resumes and what we like, what we think you should be doing on your resume. And then this Friday, we've got a great presentation at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. We're going to talk about the one-page bio. So everybody gets hung up on a resume. By using a one-page bio, here's a great opportunity for you to have a networking document that you can share with people as you're doing information and interviews. It's very high level. It just sort of says who you are, what you do, but it doesn't get into all the details. And hopefully it's one of those documents that people go, well, wait, tell me a little more. I want more detail on how you did this. Like I said, these sessions have been recorded and will be on the Career USA YouTube channel. They'll be on the Career DFW Facebook page. You can follow, if you follow us on Facebook, Every time we go live, you'll get a little alert on your phone that, we're currently broadcasting live. All these episodes will be put up on Career USA on the YouTube channel later this afternoon. I'll move this one up there and you can go back and you can view it as many times as you want.
To repeat the email address for Locke?
It's Locke Alderson, all one word, lockealderson@gmail.com.
Got it. Thank you.
So please remember, Career DFW is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees. I'm a volunteer, just like all the speakers. We're all here to help you land your next great opportunity. We survive on donations. Career DFW survives on donations. Please consider making a donation when you get your next job. If your company offers matching donations, please look us up, allow your donation to double in value. If you don't see us listed on your list, please reach out to me and let me know because I will get us on the list. So once again, Locke, thank you very much for great information. For everybody else, thank you very much for joining us. For those of you on Facebook and those of you on Zoom, thank you very, very much. Have a great week, and hopefully we'll see you Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday this week also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.